Thank you for joining us for CNTV. I'm Brad Claunch.
And I'm Quin Tran. Those of us who love history will enjoy this latest Chickasaw press release.
The book, Otis W. Leader, The Ideal American Doughboy, takes us back to World War I to learn about a first American Indian.
We connect with the book's author, Sarah Elisabeth Sawyer, to ask, who is Otis Leader?
Otis is one of my heroes, and I discovered him whenever I was researching for the Choctaw Code Talkers of World War I, and all of them are my heroes as well. I love all of their stories, but Otis was a standout. He wrote his war memoir, so after he returned, he spent time writing nearly 100 pages about his war experiences. He was featured in hundreds of newspaper articles across the country and even Hawaii, and I just fell in love with him, fell in love with his story.
The title of the book refers to him as the Ideal American Doughboy. And for those of us who don't know that term, that's a nickname for infantrymen who served during World War I.
He was chosen as to represent the ideal American doughboy while he was in France before the Americans even engaged in their first battle. A French artist who had been commissioned by the government picked him out of a 4th of July parade when they arrived in Paris and said, who better to represent the American doughboys than an American Indian? And so he was selected for that painting and went on to fight in every major combat that the Americans were involved in during World War I, and committed acts of bravery worthy of the Medal of Honor. So really proud to have done his story. Well deserved.
How did you come across his story?
It was whenever I was researching for the Choctaw Code Talkers. So I'm a tribal member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. I was born in 1985. And by that point, the story of the Choctaw Code Talkers was already ingrained into our history and culture. We were sharing about it at Labor Day festivals and different events. So I grew up knowing about the Choctaw Code Talkers, but it would always surprise me, especially as I got into writing books and I would speak at libraries and museums and things. I would ask the question, has anyone heard of the Navajo Code Talkers of World War II? And everyone in the room would raise their hand. I would ask if anyone had heard of the Code Talkers and the Choctaw Code Talkers in World War I, and I would just get blank stares. And so it was always a privilege for me to be able to share that little known history of the Code Talkers. There were 19 of them who were credited as Choctaw Code Talkers, and all of them were in the 36th Division except for our Otis W. Leader. He was in the 1st Division, and as I got to know his story through his war memoir, it blew me away, and I connected with descendants of his who shared more documentation, more stories, more photos, those who actually knew him when he was still alive. So getting to discover his story and bring it to this point is just a tremendous honor for me.
Sarah, you're connecting with us from East Texas. You actually teach an online class on fiction writing. This book is historical biography. Do you see this book as a gift to his family, Otis's family, and also a tribute to veterans who serve?
Absolutely. I think it's really important for us to highlight American Indian, especially American Indian war heroes of the 20th century. That's a little known aspect, I think, in mainstream America and even around the world. Most people think of American Indians in the 19th century, in the 1800s. So this is an opportunity for us to show what American Indians were like in the 20th century, and the fact that they were among the top, or they're credited as among the highest ratio of volunteering for military service of any race, ethnic group. I really hope that people grasp onto the fact that he was an American Indian who was born in Indian Territory prior to the state of Oklahoma, and bringing it all the way forward to being a 35-year-old widower with 3 children who was willing to go to war to prove that he was 100% American. And he was very proud of his Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Cherokee heritage and his Irish heritage. And he wanted to show that even though he didn't look like what people typically thought of an American, that he was 100% American. when it came time to actually do his story, I felt that narrative biography and writing it in that style would be the way to really tell his story fully and to get the details and the facts in there. So that was a different experience. It was amazing because I really felt I came to know Otis through the newspaper articles and through the stories and getting to tell his story. I even paused about halfway through drafting the manuscript and wondered if I really was qualified to write this book, if I really what would Otis think if he knew I was writing his story? And I felt just so blessed to have the blessing of family members and descendants. And I feel that Otis, I hope anyway, that he would trust me to tell his story in this way. And so it was a tremendous honor to do it as a nonfiction. And I really felt like that was the way that his story needed to be told.
She really brings his amazing story back to life. Otis Leader's actual handwritten journal and photographs help put images to his story as well. It's a great book.
The book is available at chickasawpress.com. On the next CNTV, we'll look at another recently released book by the Chickasaw Press that features the artistic talents of a young Chickasaw. Chickasaw Press also has a new outlet for Chickasaw authors and scholars to create published works. Leaning Pole Press was established in 2023. Chickasaw citizens have an opportunity to submit fiction or nonfiction on a wide variety of subject matter. Visit the Chickasaw Press website. Go to Leaning Pole Press to get submission guidelines and other information. The Chickasaw National Capitol grounds in Tishomingo will host the Kochcha Market. It's a monthly held market that gives artists and farmers a marketplace for local art and fresh produce. For more information, event dates, and vendor applications, call the number on your screen.
The Three Sisters celebration gets underway March 19th through 23rd. Take part in Chickasaw culture and enjoy this annual event that observes the changing of the seasons and planting of the three crops known as the Three Sisters: beans, corn, and squash. Visit ChickasawCulturalCenter.com for full details.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of CNTV. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you back here soon.